Hello, and welcome to the Greek now of Acts 18, 12 through 17. And so Paul is at Corinth. He's been there for a while. He had a little bit of a run in the synagogue there, but they pretty much ran him out. But he had some converts. So Crispus, who was the synagogue leader, became a Christian. We're going to meet Sosthenes in the verses today, who is kind of the replacement synagogue leader. He becomes a Christian. They beat him at the end of the verses. For that. There's also a guy, probably maybe the same guy as Gaius in 1 Corinthians and Romans 16. He's called Titius Justus in the verses from yesterday. He's a God-fearer. And so Paul has a really good, profitable church founded at Corinth. It's a very robust church. Of course, you'll have lots of problems with them, as we'll see. Okay, well, let's dive in with verse 12. Now, when Gallio, being proconsul, so this Anthupatos, we saw this in chapter 13, I think it was, where Paul and Barnabas were on the island of Cyprus. Sergius Paulus is an Anthupatos, a proconsul in place of a council. So Gallio, this is a genitive absolute construction, right? A noun, two nouns actually, in the genitive and a participle in the genitive. This is the participle of a me. So Gallio being proconsul of Achaia, and I mentioned Gallio. There's a Gallio inscription meant that I allude to in my podcast. So they rose up together. The Jews rose up together. So while Gallio was proconsul, I'm guessing about the year 52, summer 52 maybe. While Gallio was proconsul of Achaia, the Jews rose up together against Paul. This is kind of a dative of disadvantage, I would say. So there's a dative of advantage that's translated for Paul. This would be against Paul. This would seem to be, what is that, sigma alpha nu? Seems like we've seen some of that. So it's aorist, right? Aorist active indicative third plural. From katapipto. Actually, I'm sorry. I've messed up. No, I haven't. Okay. So this is katepis. This is katepisteme. Ep is preposition kat, so it has it's a compound, two prepositions on the front, and then this is histemi. It's the aorist of histemi. The son could be a third person plural altogether, and this tells you it's aorist. Anyway, my analysis is correct. It is an aorist active indicative third plural from katepisteme. Okay. Hamathumadon we've seen many times. The Jews against Paul rose up, and they led him to the bema, the judgment seat. Agag is aorist, right? Aorist active indicative of ago, third plural. Verse 13. Saying, present active participle, nominative masculine plural, saying, quote, this is, Hoti kind of introduces direct discourse here. That's so Hoti either introduces a causal clause or a noun clause. It introduces a noun clause here. It can introduce a noun clause where we translate the that. When it introduces a quote, a lot of times we don't translate the that. So saying, quote, capital letter, direct discourse, against the law. He is persuading this guy. This guy is persuading the people to reverence God. This guy is teaching people to reverence God against the law. I speculate, why the Jews might think that would mean something to Gallio in my podcast. Okay, this is Anapatho, present active indicative third singular from Anapatho. You know Anapatho. She lives down the street. Okay, Sebesthai is a present middle deponent infinitive. 6 out of 7 infinitives end in I, or the 6 out of 7 infinitive endings are I. So that's a infinitive. It's deponent because it's sebeomai, I believe. Okay, verse 14. Paul, being about to open the mouth, another genitive absolute. Boy, Luke likes them genitive absolutes. Noun in the genitive, a participle in the genitive. It's a present active participle. Genitive masculine singular. Genitive masculine singular, Paul. Present active infinitive. So Paul, being about to open the mouth, Aping an aorist, Gallio said to the Jews, quote, if on the one hand was a wrong, he did, a crime, if there was a crime, some crime, this is the interrogative adjective here, some crime, if there was some crime, and this seems to be a contrary to fact also. Yeah, it is a contrary to fact condition, second class condition. It has a past tense and then the little bomb on in the apodosis. The prodosis is the if part. The apodosis is the then part. So this has past tense in both the prodosis and the apodosis, and it has the little bomb on in the apodosis. So this is contrary to fact. So in English, to do that, we say, if there were some crime or villainy, evil villainy, O Jews, according to reason, I would, pay attention to y'all. It would, of course, natürlich, obviously, offensichtlich. Sorry, this is not German. Obviously, I would pay attention to you if there was some crime here. So this here, you can see the sk, which I have memorized as related to echo. So this is on echo, to pay attention to. And so SCO is the aorist, irregular aorist. So this is aorist. It's middle because it doesn't have a theta eta, but it has the amenu. It also it has the middle endings. It might be, in fact, a deponent even on nekomai would be. And I don't have my dictionary here to look, but in any case, we know how to translate it. I'd pay attention to y'all if there was some crime here, but there isn't a crime here. By the way, I thought I would show you, I took this from Wiki Commons. I do have my own picture somewhere, but this is Corinth, the ruins of Corinth today. This is called the Acro Corinth, or the High Corinth. It's in the background. Of course, at one time there was a temple of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, up there, lots of prostitutes at one point. As I said, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, that particular version of Corinth was destroyed in the year 122 BC by the Roman general Mummius. He made a mummy out of Corinth. Anyway, and then Corinth was refounded as a Roman colony in 44 BC by Julius Caesar. But anyway, I don't know that the Acro Corinth was particularly alive and well or bustling when Paul was there. But this is down here, the marketplace, the Agora of Corinth, when Paul was there, and this is the ruins of the Bema, the judgment seat. So this is actually where Paul would have appeared before Gallio. That's kind of neat to actually be able to see a place where Paul would have been. Okay, so I fulfilled my promise in my podcast that I would show the picture. Okay, now, so verse 15. If there is arguments, debates, issues, if you guys have issues, and they do, this is not a contrary to fact, they do have issues. So if there are some issues concerning a word or concerning names, so he's saying God is named Jesus, I don't know what your God is named. Why are you bothering me? This is Gallio still speaking. And the law of the according to you law, the law, the according to y'all. So this Jewish thing, why do you think I'm interested? And I talk a little bit, speculate about why they may have thought he might be in the podcast. You yourselves will see. So when autos is in the nominative case, it intensifies the subject, and the subject, second person plural, is y'all. So you yourselves, and this is the future of horao. You will see. Psi is the key to a hidden sigma. So a sigma in the indicative indicates future. This is future middle deponent, because opsomai is deponent, omai. Future middle deponent indicative, second plural from horao. I do not want to be a judge of these things. And that's not necessary because the I is in the my. So that kind of is a little, but I, emphasis, do not want to judge these things. Stop bothering me. Okay, so verse 16. And he kicked them out from the bema. Go away. Don't go away mad, just go away. Or actually didn't care whether they went away mad. He just wanted them to leave. So there's the sen, third person singular, aorist active indicative from apolao, I would guess, something like that. I'm not exactly sure what this word is. There are some what are called hapax legomena in this reading today, the words that only appear one time. I forget which one I looked up. That was a hapax legomena. So on the first slide. So they kicked him from the bema, verse 17, and everyone, all laying hold of Sosthenes, the leader of the synagogue, they beat him before the judgment seat. So this is it's lobbing you an aorist. So this is an aorist participle, menor passive participle. It's either epilambanomai, which means it's deponent, or this is middle. So anyway, and all having taken hold of Sosthenes. So he's a Christian too. Say, you're messing up the synagogue. We're not a Jesus synagogue. The opponents are saying. And then he beat them. This seems to be imperfect. Tupto, through the tulips. So add an augment. So it's imperfect. It's present stem with an augment before the bema. And nothing of these things to Gallio was a concern. So Gallio's like, oh, is somebody being beaten? Would you get me my drink over there? So this is the imperfect of or actually this might be aorist, because mellow normally has two lambdas. We saw a mellow somewhere here. They called it mellow yellow. No, that's not it. Okay, so this is the aorist of mellow because it's lost a lambda. It was a concern nothing of these things to Gallio. Okay, well, there's our Greek for the day. Tomorrow, Paul will leave Corinth. And so we'll see you, Lord willing, mañana en la mañana.